Today we're gonna see.
Hello.
We're gonna see Dogman AU.
Hello. Hi.
I think AU means like a creepypasta. So okay. Yo, chill. Yeah, chill. I said. Okay, bro.
Today we're jumping into a story about a dog man, and you know what they say. Every dog has its day. Originally a comic book series, Dogman is a funny movie where a police dog
Actually, a comic book or I don't know.
It's a
Novel, graphic novel, I don't know.
and a cop get fused together to become a dog man, a part dog, part human hero who fights crime and causes chaos, mostly by accident. And this video takes the usual silly tone of Dogman and changes it for the greater worse. Starting out in the hospital one
Bro, this where I was born, in the hospital.
cold night.
Stress.
Dogman is laying in the bed, quiet, until he opens his eyes. Meanwhile, Nurse Jenny is walking down the hall of the hospital, looking at her clipboard at her next patient, where we can see that the officer's head was amputated using Greg the dog's head.
Oh.
Now in the movie the same thing happens. The officer is pretty chaotic and reckless, while the dog is the smartest one in the duo. Now of course the dog was pretty smart, but anybody with a brain will see that this was disaster waiting to happen. And when disaster finally struck on that fateful day, the nurses decided, why not we just switch out the dog's head and put it on the officer's? Luckily,
into the man's body.
The operation was a success. He became a hero, but in another one, the complete opposite.
Hell no.
Nurse Jenny finally entered the room and was surprised. She didn't see Dogman anywhere, so of course she asked, "Where's the body?"
Hey.
Meanwhile, a doctor and the chief of police is walking down the hall,
chief.
with the doctor saying they've been working on Dogman for 2 weeks, assuring the chief that everything is worth the wait. With the chief saying, "I hope so. I've been worried about Greg and Knight, and it would really relieve me to see them. Trust me, it's better than you think." Then out of nowhere they hear screaming coming from Dogman's room.
Chat, bro.
Inside,
But you
Nurse
watched that
Jenny is
already, bro.
completely
What's not the whole thing?
See, chat, bro. He already watched it, bro. Bro, he watched.
Bro, I didn't watch the whole thing.
Bro, even though he watched like most of it.
Yeah, I was like 3 minutes in. Chill. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Unable to move, she tries to run away but doesn't get away in time. And when the doctor and chief open the door to see what's all the commotion going on, they are greeted with Dogman mauling the nurse's face, even repeatedly scratching on it, making her unrecognizable. I want you to keep in mind, dogs don't usually scratch their victims, and there's only 4 reasons on why they would do this. With the first one being marking their territory and leaving behind their scent to communicate to other dogs that come across it. Visual marking, comfort and instinct, and the other reason that I think it is for relieving stress and anxiety, which we'll find out why soon. But anyways, when Dogman goes for the next bite, they scream out, "What the?" And instantly Dogman runs away, jumping out of the window with Chief saying, "Hey!"
Nah, bro, this is Amazing World Gumball reference, bro.
"Get back!" And that's when we're shown Sarah the news reporter, who's seemingly waiting outside for the chief to leave the building after checking up on the 2 police officers. And that's when she hears a loud noise, saying, "What was that sound?" And little does she know, it was Dogman, who tries to let out a bark, but only sounds like a dog waiting to be let out by its owner, whining. with someone saying, "Oh my glob, what is that thing?" And it zooms out, showing us that it's Petey the cat saying this. Watching from his TV at home, he says, "It's a dog? Or a man?"
It's a monster!
As Dogman escaped the hospital and is running through town, it's revealed that everybody is glancing over at him, watching and scaring him, and confused, he's bumping into all of his surroundings. Wandering the night, people are so much scared of leaving the car with this creature
Damn.
roaming around. And all he wants to find is one place, known as home. Inside the house, Officer Knight's wife Alice is at home, and she's seemingly moving on with packages all around the house. She did end up doing the same thing in the movie, with her telling the landlord that she's not gonna wait around for no dog man to come back home to, which kinda shows how unloyal she is,
Oh, you never even
because at
watched
the
the
end of the
movie.
day, that's still her husband's body. But anyways, the dog man is stalking Alice from the bushes, and she's on her phone, clueless, on the front patio, possibly waiting for a taxi to arrive. And then she hears some scuffling and a faint whisper saying, "Ah." And when she looks over, she sees Dogman saying, "Alice." Then reality sunk in. Alice didn't see a peaceful Dogman happen to see his wife. She's seen a monster, a creep. And scared that this creature was out for her blood next, she ran back inside, holding the door closed. And as it crept towards the door, she booked it down the hall, telling herself in her head, "Run, Alice, run." And she hid inside
Goody.
the closet,
Oh, damn.
with tears flowing down her face in fear. And somehow Dogman got inside, and is now looking for Alice on all four. Now, one interesting thing about this scene is that I've noticed that the creator has put in a lot of attention to detail. But a lot of people don't know this, but dogs can almost see perfectly within the dark. Unlike us humans, whose eyes not only take a long time to adjust in the dark, but just don't have the superiority over dogs in general when it comes to eyesight. But anyways, as she hides in the dark, she gets sniffed out. And as the door creaks open, the beast reveals itself. And it goes in for the grab and gets stabbed right in the hand. And it screeches out in pain.
Why did you do that to me?
Damn.
Wait. She's not Alice.
It's a demon that smells like her. And Dogman yells at what it thinks is a demon, saying, "Where's Alice?" And as Alice screams once again, he yells out, "Where's Alice?" With its psychotic eyes and blood all over its face, it's revealed, and we find
I'm not
out
laughing.
that Dogman's thoughts weren't real, and he was no longer seeing clearly. And that poor woman known as Alice doesn't know that the man that she once loved is now a monster, and also views her as a monster, showing us that not only was Dogman an experiment that went wrong, but a consequence of someone trying to cheat fate. Sometime later, the police arrived at the house and were able to capture Dogman. And we're also told that everything seems to be safe as the monster was taken out of the city, but Chief will never forget everything he's seen that night. And when they found Dogman, he actually was in a weak state and he couldn't move or do anything like move a muscle because he most likely lost a lot of blood, which of course led to him being tranquilized and captured. The next day, the mayor of the city stormed into the chief's office asking, "Could someone explain to me?" And then someone cuts her off saying, "Where did they leave Dogman?" Well, first, you have to know why he exists. Mayor, please, we are in the middle of something important. Of course, the mayor's not having that and gets all up in her face, and she says,
Ooh, she wants some cheese, man, bro.
Sorry? Then she goes completely in on them, saying, "My surprise this morning waking up reading this thing." And that's when on the other side of the table, it's revealed that the doctor is being interrogated by the police, and responds to the mayor by saying, "Well, I think you arrived in time to find out."
Why you didn't let bro died, bro. For real. To make this correction.
what happened. And that's when the doctor starts to explain the story on how everything went down. One day, they both were in a very delicate life or death situation. Knight's head was slowly dying, and Greg, for his part, his body was going the same way. He had a hard time breathing. The doctor didn't know what to do to help them, until Nurse Lay thought she found a way to solve it. It was to join the dog's head with Knight's body. However, gosh, we didn't mean for Dog Man to go out of control like that. And that's when the chief of police loses his temper. We didn't mean for the Dog Man to go out of control like that? Do you have any idea of the damage caused by their stupidity? Then he jumps over the table and grips his collar.
Damn.
For saying, do you know the damage and panic that thing caused? The deaths it caused. I will make sure that this dog man does not hurt anyone else again. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, we're showing Petey the cat, who's not looking so good, and it's also revealed that he couldn't get any sleep all night.
Damn.
And as you can see from the drawings on the whiteboard of Greg and Knight, whatever's been keeping him up all night has something to do with Dogman. And as he sits there and talks to himself, he says, I can't hide forever. He's going to find me as soon as he finds out I was the one who planted that stupid bomb. And fortunately for him, he gets an idea. That's it. He's going to find me, but not me. Me. Because he will find a clone of me. The clone will die in my place.
Little Petey. Right?
And I will be free from suffering, thirst for revenge. Eventually, he does some research and surprisingly finds exactly what he's looking for online, which is a cloning machine. And after ordering the machine, it arrives pretty fast, and Petey ends up putting it together. And after using one of his whiskers to start the cloning process, he eventually does it and succeeds.
I broke a balloon.
But sadly enough for him, it starts out
Wait, let's give it this funeral for this balloon. Nah.
the kid version.
Useless.
Of him. So his plan isn't really going so
Okay,
for him. It starts out with the kid version of him. So his plan isn't really going so good, as far as I can say right now. And this is when we get updates on everyone involved after that tragic night. After his questioning from the police, the doctor was put behind bars. As far as the nurse, she will never look pretty again. And she also says, a lot of the time, I can't feel my face. The mayor ordered for no one to know about this situation. And if you know how the mayor acts within the movie, she's very, let's say,
Kind of. I read the books.
passionate about her job and the perception that the city has. So of course she would demand that nobody know about this, especially the media. And sadly after that, Chief ordered for Dogman to be put to sleep forever. But the scientists had different plans, and they ignored the demands that the chief had
Damn.
and thought of something else. It said that they saw something impossible to ignore. They saw something within Dogman that would allow them to perhaps make a breakthrough in science. And when the Dogman eventually woke up, he was subjected to a lot of inhumane experiments, being shocked, his eyeballs being taken out, and a lot of other different unspeakable things. It's even said that it's so bad that he's not even able to rest at all times, and all he does is suffer. And his only choice is to obey the voice that orders him through the glass. And what even makes this situation even sadder is that they notice that this is a very smart dog. And they say maybe if he can learn how to talk or do something else, he can make this torture stop. Now, like I said before, they aren't wrong about that. The dog he can make this torture stop. Now, like I said before, they aren't wrong about that. The dog is very smart. It was even smart enough to find what wire could actually stop a whole bomb. But the fact that they're torturing this dog so bad so that they can create the first dog human dog is lives terrified of everything. And the only thing that keeps him calm is thinking deep down inside about his owner, Knight, and uses his only Knight's hand to caress his head. Then out of nowhere, we're shown two characters from the Captain Underpants series named George and Harold, who were actually the creators of the Dogman comic. They are now older, and they're also making the graphic, more R-rated version of the comics because Harold says they don't make comics for kids anymore. And then Melvin tells them that whatever they create might become real, and they get scared at first. But then George just tells them to shut up. And if you aren't subscribed already, do that now to not miss out on the other AUs that are still being updated that I will follow up to. I love all you people.
Alright, bro, that's the Dogman AU. Goodbye.
Adios.
See you next week. Maybe. Or probably tomorrow. Jump there.